All right, super excited to bring on the one, the only CobaltStreak onto the podcast. Kobe, what's going on, man?
Good morning. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Thanks so much for coming on. It's a little crazy to think that it's been as long as it has been. We've known each other for what, 5, 6 years? 5 years?
Oh, I'm getting so old so fast.
so, um, so you've been streaming on Twitch for a while. Can you give people like a quick backstory on how you got started and where you're at now?
Sure. I was working at a restaurant, waiting tables, going to IT school, putting myself through that, trying to get some certifications to do some IT stuff. And I found Twitch through watching League of Legends because me and my friends were all trying to get better at League of Legends.
Real quick, were
And
you a waiter or were you a cook or what did you do in the restaurant?
I did a little bit of everything. I waited tables, I bussed tables, I hosted, I did dishwashing.
Did you
Like,
enjoy
I
it?
pretty much did whatever. No, no, 0%. I would have like panic attacks. Like before I went into work, waiting tables was super stressful. People just are very, judgmental. I would say. So
Was it
it
like
was very stressful.
was it like a chain or was it like a one-off local restaurant?
It's a place called O'Charlie's.
Okay.
So it's like a family kind of style food, chicken tenders, salads, burgers, steaks, kind of thing.
Have you been
Not
back
very
since?
high end.
Have you
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's all right. Lisa hates going there and eating because I always have all these stories to tell her, and she's like, "I just want to eat. I don't want to hear about, how you and Bob like went in the bathroom and fought or whatever, like, or how you had an angry customer, or how you waited tables, and this is how they're doing it wrong." But no, it's fine. A lot of the people have moved on. Restaurants have a high turn rate of employees.
So
there's very few people that remember me there.
So young Kobe is working at the restaurant, working on IT. What did you initially see yourself doing in IT?
I was going to build/repair computers,
Okay.
then get into networking, go around set up networks for different stores and stuff.
Okay, and clearly that plan got derailed. So you were watching League of Legends on Twitch, and then what happened?
Watching League of Legends, and then my friend. So that's how I found out about Twitch. And then my friend was like, "Oh, hey, I saw this guy playing this game. It looks really fun. It's called The Binding of Isaac." He was basically playing it between queues because they have to wait for so long when they're high level for like a queue to pop. So they were playing Binding of Isaac between queues, and it looked interesting to us. So we started playing it. And at first, I was using Skype with my friend to kind of like show him what was going on in the game using like the screen capture thing. But the quality was so poor that I decided, hey, I'm just going to stream it. And then when I have a cool build, I'll just, message my friend, nudge him and be like, hey, come here and look at all these cool items I have. And so I started doing that. And then like other people started coming into my channel.
So
I'm like, what is this?
So initially you had no plans for it. You're just finding a way to share the game with your friend so he could watch it with you.
Yeah, exactly. Just showing off cool builds on Isaac. I was really bad at it. I died like on the first 2 floors so many times, dude. And, after I got a couple of people in there, I was like, this is really cool. I'm kind of between jobs right now. I just got certified for doing these IT things. Let's give this like 3 months, see where it goes, see how far we can go with it. And if something happens, great. If not, I've got this fallback, certifications. I can go get a job and whatnot. And
so just for some time, for some time context, about when was this roughly that you started? Like your first Twitch stream that you showed your buddy?
Maybe roughly. Like 6 years ago, around August.
So like August, what was that, 12?
2012.
Okay. So August 2012, you do that. And then people start to come in, and are you like, did you get it? Or like, did you understand what was happening? Or what was going on when you were doing it?
I mean, I understood what was going on, but so like the first guy that ever came on my channel, he still comes back to this day. I saw him a couple of days ago, and he made sure to tell me, like, dude, your mic sounds like crap. He's like, this is pretty entertaining, but you got to fix your mic, man. So he helped me like walk through the steps of fixing my mic. I had a $15 like desk mic that was just like slapped on the desk. It was really bad, lots of static. And then as soon as I got the mic fixed, he was like, "Oh, you might actually get some people watching you now." I'm like, okay, thanks, man. I had like an Apple webcam that I
Mhm.
hooked in that was black and white.
You had a
It was
is there any of this footage anywhere of like your very, very first OG stream?
I don't know, maybe on YouTube or something. I don't know. I
Okay.
have to go look it up.
Okay.
I do have pictures somewhere on my computer of like the black and white webcam, but it was super grainy and black and white and looked terrible. My computer wasn't even that good,
Hmm.
but after like 3 or 4 months, I had like maybe like 100 or so people in my channel,
Okay.
and one of them just gave me a computer. It was like, "Here you go. I want you to be successful at being a streamer. Have a computer."
Wow. Well, let me
So
take a half step back. So when you
sure.
said like you want to give it like 3 to 4 months, so were you working in the restaurant at that time and you just finished your school and you're
Yes.
like, I want to take these 3 months and give it a shot?
I was working in the restaurant,
Hmm.
and my restaurant was pretty lenient with my hours since I had worked there for so long. So I had cut my hours back because I was gonna leave that job anyway if I found another one in the IT
Hmm.
department. So I'd cut my hours back probably like 12 to 14 hours a week, which is just a couple of shifts, which is like nothing. And they used to make fun of me for playing video games. Like
Like
it
what
was
would they say?
awesome.
Like, did they know that you streamed?
Well, they didn't know I streamed.
Hmm.
At the time, it was more of like I had a World of Warcraft addiction. I had been playing World of Warcraft for like 8 years.
Hmm.
So I would be like, hey, it's almost 8 o'clock. I got to get off work. I got to go raid on World of Warcraft. And they'd be like, oh, everybody's sitting here busting their butts, making money for a living, and you got to get off to play video games. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, let me off or I quit, So they'd always give me crap for it. But when I finally, made that turn to where I had a, subscription count and I was making more money on Twitch than I was at my job, I was like, 2 weeks, there you go. Who's the sucker now?
So that's what I want to talk about. So you're working this, you're streaming like when you're not at the restaurant. You just finish up school at this point, like because when you start out on Twitch, you don't start generating revenue, especially way back in the
No.
day. So like, how long did you stream before you even started to like make like $1 or anything? Do you remember?
I mean, I honestly, I got really lucky.
Yeah.
I feel like, I always tell people like, what do you need to do to build your stream? And there's no like master miracle formula, right? There's things you can do to make your stream better, and there's things that you can do to generate growth, but there's no miracle formula. And you need luck. Luck is like a really big part of it, I feel like. And so I
Hmm.
had the luck probably about 3 months, 3 to 5 months. I had about 300 to 400 people, which was huge.
Hmm.
That's crazy growth.
Yeah.
I was doing lots of Isaac races and winning competitions, getting kind of into like the boiler and stuff. Doing streaks on my channel.
In case people don't
And
know, Boiler was a racing league for the Binding the Isaac, which is the Cobalt's game that he primarily started playing.
it was like the very first one.
Let me take a half step back here. So you're streaming for 3 to 4 months. Did you have a schedule? Were you streaming sporadically, or what were you back in the day? Like, how did you ramp
I was
things up?
streaming every single day.
Okay.
At first, for the first couple of weeks, it was like unhealthy. I was so addicted to it, and I was so scared to get offline because I didn't think people were ever going to come back. Like once I got offline and they had to make the decision to come back to the channel, that I was basically streaming until I had to sleep. Then I would sleep, wake up, and get back on stream. And I did that for 2 weeks before I was like, this is unhealthy. I kind of need to rein this back in, like get on an actual schedule, 6 to 8 hours, 7 days a week. I didn't really take much time off for like 3 years. I
Mhm.
streamed almost every single day. And I was actually in a relationship at the time as well. And she really didn't like me spending that much time streaming, even though she was also a gamer and was generally playing on the computer as well when I streamed. And she actually went to my parents at one point and tried to have them give me an intervention to basically be like, you're streaming too much. Like, you need to not stream so much, reel it back in.
So
And my parents basically told her, sorry, he's passionate about it. Like, too bad.
let me ask you this. So you have your girlfriend at the time and your family maybe having a conversation with you. It sounds like they're supportive, but like, well, internally, what were you processing? Were you like, hey, maybe I should take a look at this, or you're like, you love this so much? Like, what was going on?
I just loved it. I feel like really for me, it was like the passion of streaming that got me so into it. Like I just it's something like nostalgic. I feel like because growing up, some of my fondest memories are doing like sleepovers with my friends,
Hmm.
and we'd get like the hottest new game coming out or RPG, and we would spend all night playing it. And we'd have like the player guide, and one person would be on the player guide, and one person would be on the game, and then we'd swap off. And it's just like that feeling of playing a game and having a friend there with you to talk to, and kind of experiencing it together.
Hmm.
And I think that's what it was with Twitch is I have all these friends come in and want to watch the game with me and talk with me and discuss these things. And that's what I think I kind of got addicted to was just like the community aspect of it.
You seem like really self-aware when you said like you were streaming for 2 weeks straight, pretty much, and you're like, hey, you realized it was unhealthy. What, like, to have that sort of insight, like, what about it did you realize wasn't healthy to like literally wake up, stream, work, go to bed, stream? Like, what made you put that all together?
I mean, there was really no time to decompress at all. There was no time to like hang out with the girlfriend, watch a couple of movies or, shows or whatever. And just like the physical aspect of sitting in one place in a chair for so long. It's really important to get up and even stretch
Mhm.
every couple of hours. I just think, I mean, it'll tear you down. It'll wear you down very quick mentally. It's just exhausting.
Mhm.
You just get exhausted after a while. You need a break. So
And so that you said you got to a point where it's like, hey, you worried about turning off the stream and you worried about people coming back. And how did you process that? Like, what helped you process that to say, hey, look, I can shut this down and then I can come back tomorrow or the next day and people are going to come back? Like, how did you flip that switch internally?
I think it's just like repetition. Once you've done it enough so many times and you do see the people coming back, it slowly starts to like chip away at that feeling of insecurity.
Hmm.
But it took a long time for me to even get to a point where I wanted to take one day off a week, where I would even take days off. Like I thought if you take any days off, you're ruining your channel, and it's just unhealthy. You gotta have those days or two. You also just get really boring as a person when you do the same thing every day, and it's just like video games, video games, video games. You have no life stories to talk about, or experiences, or like trips with your friends. So when you actually get out there and do things, you have more stuff to talk about on stream. Whether it's even just watching some TV shows or like comedy specials, right?
Hmm.
It
Where's your
just gives you like more material.
That's an interesting point. So you're at a point where, all right, your girlfriend at the time says, hey, you're streaming too much. She brings it to your parents, and your parents are like, hey, like, go get him, Tiger. Essentially, that's what they told you, right?
Yeah.
Like, go do your thing.
They, they said we've never seen him so passionate about something in like his entire life, and we're gonna support him like basically in what he wants to do. I have great parents, so
What?
like they would support me for anything. If I wanted to be homeless, they'd be like, we don't really like that you want to be homeless, but if you're gonna do it, you're gonna be the best damn homeless
Mhm.
person that ever existed. So
So
that's just how they are.
when they reaffirmed kind of what you already knew internally, did that like what happened from there? Did you just like continue the grind for the next 2-3 years, or what happened? Because I mean, I imagine that would light you on fire. Like, hey, my parents are on my corner at this kind of
Yeah,
crux in your life.
I didn't really know that she had gone to them
Oh.
and tried to talk about it for a while, probably until after we broke up. That my mom had mentioned it to me, but I mean that was always there.
Mhm.
She never tried to talk to me about it directly.
Mhm.
I probably would have had a better reaction and made some more time for her and whatnot.
Mhm.
But I mean, honestly, like to be fair, she wasn't doing much either. She didn't have like a job. She was just sitting at home playing video games with me. So it really wasn't that bad of a rap. All she needed to do was talk to me. But I don't know, like 3 years nonstop streaming.
Did you take any breaks in those 3 years? Would you take Sundays off, Saturdays off, or what was your
No,
schedule like roughly during those 3 years?
6 hours a day, 7 days a week, 5 to 11 every single day. The only time I took off was to go to my grandmother's funeral
Hmm.
one year. And I think after like the first year and a half, I had broken up with my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Or she broke up. I don't really. My computer's falling asleep. I have to touch my mouse. And you know, I don't know. I got lost there. What was the question again?
No, you said you were streaming from 5 to 11, and you said you didn't really take any
Yeah.
time off. So like you'd stream from 5 to 11. Then some days would you sleep until the stream, or like did you take any time off like before that 5 p.m. to do anything, or you just kind of like you're so gassed up on the stream?
So the thing with streaming is, even when you're not online,
Mm-hmm.
there's still work to do. You know, like you got emails, you've got Twitter, you've got your YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
you've got other streamers that you want to go network with and be in their channels.
Mm-hmm.
So really, even when I wasn't online in front of everybody, I was still working a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just how it goes. Luckily, I've figured out a better balance now, but it was like that for a while.
In your process throughout like the past couple years, when did you know, hey, like I can make a full-time run at this thing? Like, was there a moment you're like, wow, like now I know like this can be full-time?
So basically how it went, first 3 to 5 months, about 400 to 500 viewers.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for partnership. I got denied. I think it was because I had grown so quickly,
Mm-hmm.
like right off the bat. And that's not something, I mean, that's very abnormal. It's very lucky. I still think it was super lucky, just literally right time, right place, right game. And then tenacity, just.
Well, that's what I'm gonna disagree with you, and it's just my point of view. I think it has nothing to do with luck. A little bit of luck, but from what you've told me, you grinded your face off. You streamed for 2 weeks straight. That's all you did. So I think you're right. I mean, just it's opinion based, but I think it's a little bit of luck. But at the same time, if you didn't grind your face off, would the same thing have happened?
Yeah. I could have done it with any other game though. I just feel like getting in on Isaac, it's indie, it's something kind of niche. There wasn't that many people really on the ground floor of that. So definitely right game, right time. Twitch wasn't super popular and oversaturated at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 to 5 months, that many people.
Okay.
I had actually a StarCraft 2 professional streamer come in my channel, and she was like, hey, you got all these people. Have you applied for partnership? And I was like, well, I applied last week and I got denied or whatever. And she's like, that's not right.
Did they give you a reason as to why? Or they just said no?
Just denied.
Okay.
From what I remember. She's like, well, that's not right. Let me message my friend at Twitch. And so one day went by and I got an email saying I was approved for partnership. She's like, yeah, I messaged my friend at Twitch and, she basically got me partnered.
Who was that? Who was that?
Her name was Miss Spite.
Okay. Is she still around or no?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
She went to like Germany for a while and like had a job there as like a PR person. And then she came back and she started streaming a little bit more. But
so I mean, so you owe her a little bit. I mean, like, hey, like not of the cap.
I owe her a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I had earned that partnership on my own, but at that point, like she helped push it through. It was kind of like a boys club kind of thing.
Yeah.
Twitch has changed a lot over the years, but at that point, if you knew somebody, it did help.
Yeah.
So I got my partnership.
And real quick, partnership means that people can subscribe to Kobe's channel for $4.99 a month at the time. It's like a subscription.
No,
not
back then.
No,
subscriptions were in beta program.
Oh.
You had to have to apply to get the sub button. You had to have an average of 1,000 viewers.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was in beta. So I ended up did getting my sub button. You were talking about like the transition from like waiter to streamer, and when did I feel like I was making enough money at that point? When I got partnered, that wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. Even though I had a good amount of people, I won the boiler, which was the Isaac Racing.
Sorry,
tournament.
Real quick, cut you off. So being partner means you could run ads. Is that what it meant?
You can run ads. You get like all the special partner treatment stuff. But really, all it meant was ad revenue.
Okay.
At the time.
So you started to see a little ad revenue. So like, how would you run ads? Like at once an hour? Would you not run them, or how?
Once an hour, I would run like probably 1 or 2 minutes of ads, And really, I mean, that's not very substantial though.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely can't
It wasn't enough for you to
live
quit
off of
your
ad
job.
revenue.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So progressing from the point of partnership and then winning the boiler, at that point, my channel went from 400 to 500 people to 1,000, 1,200 people. And at that point, I went ahead and I applied for the subscription button. This was probably around 5 to 6 months, and we ended up getting it. And as soon as I hit 500 subs, I was like, I'm making way more money than at my waiter job.
Mm-hmm.
I went in there, turned my 2 weeks in, and was like, later, jabronis. Like,
Did you do your 2 weeks? Did you do your 2 weeks?
I did my 2 weeks. I mean, they cut my schedule down like a lot because they wanted to help me out. I mean, I had a long-standing relationship with those guys, and at that point, they kind of knew what was going on with me because I'd come into work and talk about it all the time. And you could like look at my Twitter, and I was getting Twitter followers, and so they at that point they started like kind of to respect it a little bit more. But it was one of the best feelings ever to be able to walk in there and be able to turn that 2 weeks in.
Did that become important to you that you'd go into work and people knew what you did and respected it, or did you not care?
I mean, to me, just being in the industry and loving video games so much, I feel like it's important for me to kind of be like an ambassador for it, and also to just like raise awareness to people about it, because back then it wasn't your like your average run-of-the-mill job. When somebody asks you, hey, what do you do? Like, oh, I play video games for a living. Oh, what does that mean? Do you play professionally? Well, no, it's kind of like YouTube, but I'm live and there's a chat and play a game and people watching me. Oh, why would people ever want to watch you play video games? You can just play it themselves. And you're just like, oh my God, like nobody understands. So kind of spreading the awareness, I think, is important. So I don't know. That's what I try to do. And so yeah, I don't really like to brag about it, but
no,
I mean, okay, I did kind of brag about it at work because I was proud of it, and because they gave me so much crap about it, the whole WoW situation for years. But so it felt good to finally be like, I'm doing something I love, and I'm making like a job out of it.
Yeah,
right?
And you love it.
I love it.
That's amazing.
It's hard to not talk about.
All right, so you hit your 500 subs. You say later restaurant, and then what happened from there over the next like couple years?
I mean, I just kept grinding. I won a couple of more tournaments, and then
did you see huge bumps when you won a tournament, or was it just like? Because I remember. Real quick context. CobaltStreak is the first person I ever really started watching on Twitch. First person I subscribed to, and I remember vividly on a weekend. I'm like, hey, I got to keep this night open because Kobe's racing. And this was like early days. So I remember as a viewer, it was like a big deal to watch these races. But like after a race, did you see a bump or do you remember any of that?
I won a lot. Yeah. So I did get some bumps.
Yeah.
I really feel like that helped solidify my position as like one of the top players and kind of like grows your renown.
Yeah.
Much similar to like how Ninja, well, I mean, not on that scale, but like, how Ninja is known for Fortnite. Like I was becoming known for Isaac. Obviously it's like a much smaller pool. It's like fishing with a fishing pole in a lake, and Ninja's like in the ocean with dynamite,
But one would argue
similar.
Or say you were the guy on Twitch for Binding the Isaac, and Northern Lion was the guy on YouTube. I mean, there's probably like 2 or 3 other people in that discussion. But if you think of Isaac, you're on Twitch, you're probably thinking of CobaltStreak, and that's a fair statement. It's not self-aggrandizing. It's just the fact,
I mean, once you have a couple of wins under your belt and you're racing all these other people, it definitely does. It boosted my channel a lot, and like I said, just kind of grew the renown. And then like at a certain point, I was like, we have a pretty decent following.
When you say pretty decent, like what were like numbers at that time that you can,
like 1,000 to 2,000, couple of thousand people.
Okay,
that's huge.
Yeah,
that's more than decent. But I felt like, hey, I probably don't need to be in these tournaments anymore and to race in these tournaments. I feel like I'm more of in a position to kind of foster the community and move into more of a like host kind of aspect of it. So we started doing our own racing leagues and stuff
So let me ask
called.
this: do you, when you decided not to race anymore, is it because I know you're super competitive? Was it? It sounds like, was it a competitive decision? Was it, hey, I can use this opportunity to grow in a different way? Like, because clearly it was a pointed decision not to race anymore. After you had won a ton, was there no
Yeah.
incentive for you to race?
I feel like after a certain point, I've kind of taken enough limelight for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And from like a channel standpoint and a business standpoint, I thought at that point in my life, facilitating more races and, you know, creating these tournaments in the way that I would like them run would be a better move because, well, first off, I get to host it and commentate it with my buddy Richard, who is my co-host, obviously, and my partner in the endeavor. But it also gave me a chance to like grow the community. So instead of all the focus being on me and me doing well and me being the best, you can spread it around to other people and then they're building their communities. And really it just widens everything, right? It just makes everything bigger.
I don't want to say legitimizes. That's not the right word, but it's like you're bringing. Here's a big of. So I cut you off. I apologize, but you went from racing in a league to you started your own tournament.
Because I wanted to spread the love, and if there's only so much growth you can do as one person, right? Especially for like a genre of a game, but if you have multiple winners and multiple people on their channels, you know, racing and grinding and practicing, it just casts like a wider net for you to kind of catch people and get them involved in the Isaac community. Right. So and then that all comes back around to you eventually as well, right? Because people are going to want to watch Isaac still, and I'm still known in the community. So not only do I help other people, but it just grows the community in general and will, you know, some kind of like byproduct of it is it'll also help grow my channel as well.
It's like a win-win-win situation. So let me ask, where did the idea, like, so I know you're racing in one. At what point did it go from, hey, I'm racing in this to, hey, I can do this myself? Because it's not an easy endeavor to create a large event on Twitch, but you did this, you know, years ago. Like, what made you think that, hey, this is the time to do it, or how can we logistically do it?
I think if you're going to do something like that yourself, it's like a really daunting task. It's a lot of work to organize an event like that. So what kind of pushed me over the edge to kind of get into that, I'm going to say, is my friend Richard. He kind of got into the game a little late, like after the boiler. He watched the boiler and stuff, and from watching me, he's like, hey, I think I can do this, right? So he got into the racing stuff, and then he eventually ran his own tournament. And I kind of heard about it, and I went into his channel and was like, oh, you know, hey, like I hadn't received an invite for it or anything. So I was kind of like extending the olive branch, like, hey, I'm interested.
Were you taken aback that you didn't get invited? Like, were you a little bit insulted or no?
No.
Okay.
The thing is, like,
I'm not trying to lead you.
No, it's fine. From other people's, I try to see everything from, I try to see things from other people's perspective. And I can see when you're starting out as a streamer, you're running a tournament. You know, you've got like 200 viewers compared to like 3,000, 4,000 viewers for someone else, how it might be intimidating or
do you guys have a relationship?
That person.
Yeah, do you have a relationship at that point?
No relationship.
Okay.
I don't even think he'd gone to my channel at all. Like, I just knew of him through like the Isaac tab where everybody was playing the game tab.
That's awesome. So you went to his channel.
I went to his channel.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, I hear you're doing a tournament, you know, like, he's like, oh yeah, you know, if you want to, I didn't know if you, I figured you were busy. I didn't know if you wanted to be involved in it, and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, you know, I'd love to race or whatever. And I ended up winning that tournament. And then after that, I had expressed interest to Richard about like, hey, next time you throw one of these, like, I would like to throw a tournament, but I don't want to clash with anything that maybe you are planning in the future. I feel like commentary is always better with two people to bounce back and forth off of. Why don't we just like try to hook up something together and do something together and like unify on that front? I can help grow his channel, and then he can help me do like a lot of the legwork involved in actually pulling it off.
Yeah.
So the turning point was basically having another person
S- So real quick,
to be able to do it with.
the value for you was that he has experience in running it. He can do a lot of the legwork. You can commentate, and then so you get to be a part of the event hosting. And on his side, he's doing that work, and his value is he got additional exposure. He got to
Exposure growth. I also helped with the prize money, getting some of like the programming, finding programmers and artwork, stuff like that.
So you contributed to it on the back end, but maybe in a different capacity.
I did. I'm gonna say that as far as time spent for put in though, he hustled like getting the people together and organizing the schedule and making sure everybody's there on time and not like
that's crazy
jerking you around.
Yeah.
It's like 50, 20 to 50 people. It's insane.
Yeah, and if someone doesn't show up for a tournament, it wrecks stuff. Like it's dominoes fall. Yeah.
Yeah. Puts the whole schedule like out of whack. You're off schedule. You're like trying to push for maybe this race will end a little bit early. It's not a perfect science, but you want to try to, be as on time as you can. So that's probably what helped me make the transition from racing in them to facilitating them, was just having that extra partner there to kind of split the work with, the workload.
So take me into the night before your first tournament, and then were you like hyped up? You're like, this is gonna be a success. Did you not know how it was gonna be? Like the night before, like what's going through your mind?
I didn't think it wasn't gonna be a success, but I mean, there's always. I feel like with me, there's always like a little bit of self-doubt, and just the way I am is I don't like to get too optimistic about things, because my thing is like, if you get really excited and optimistic and then things don't go your way, you're disappointed. But if you're like, oh, well, this could be good, but it's probably not, then if it's not, you're really not that disappointed, right? You're like, oh, well, called it. That's probably not like a healthy way to think of things, but that's kind of how I approach life, so I don't disappoint myself a lot.
Okay. So you go into the event. I mean, from what I remember, it was huge.
Yeah, we killed it for sure. It was great. We probably did like 2 or 3 more throughout the years. They were all pretty successful. We even branched outside of Isaac and did like some Crypto the Necrodancer racing and stuff, which wasn't as successful, but for the scope of the game, I would say pretty successful, it being outside of our normal realm of what kind of tournament we had run.
So as Kobe, the individual, is going, so you build up your stream, things are going well, you start doing these events, and that was kind of like the next like jolt up. I mean, it clearly was massive at the time, especially.
Definitely the next jolt up. And that's where I kind of feel like, we plateaued a little bit. And I mean, for me, I'm at a point in my life where I love doing what I do, but I don't need like more. I'm happy with what I have. Like, you should always strive for more, but like from a monetary perspective, I would say like I'm very sustainable, and as long as I can sustain it and not go down, then it's not super important for me to like keep doing gimmicks and put on these events, because like I don't know. I don't want to be greedy. Like I'm really fortunate to have what I have. And I don't need more than that. And as long as, like I said, I don't lose it, then I don't know, like I'm good.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like you're happy.
I am. I'm very happy. And I have like a nice balance in life to where I'm at now, to whereas I would say the first 3 or 4 years of streaming, it was like I was on the grind and I worked really hard, but I probably like overworked myself like unfairly. And if you look at like life just in general, I love streaming. Streaming is my passion, but I definitely want there to be more than that. I want to, like be able to travel sometimes, spend time with my family, have a house, have these things. And if you can like come to terms with yourself and your own goals, like you can have the balance to have all those things. It's just doing it and making the time.
Where did you get that from to go from like working your face off all the time streaming, and not saying that you don't do that now, because I know you work really hard now, but then to have how did you flip that switch? Because now you're married, you have a son, you have a house. Like, how did that happen? Because it's like you're going 300 miles an hour, and now you're still going fast, but it sounds like you have that balance. Like, when did that change, and how did you get to that point?
I would probably say it's from meeting Lisa, and being in a relationship with her. Like, she has helped me grow as a person. Because at first, I mean, I'm like a giant man child. I'm the first to admit it. Like, I'm super immature. I was living at home in my parents' attic until I was 28, even when I was streaming and I could have moved out. No bills, like no responsibilities. I thought responsibilities were doing the dishes, taking the trash out. Those aren't responsibilities. Like, a responsibility is something that if you don't do it, like, you're screwed. Like, taking care of your child, it's something you like have to do. That's a responsibility.
Yeah.
Paying the bills,
Yeah.
exactly. So my concept of that was kind of warped. And then being in an actual, like, I really hadn't really been in a long-term relationship ever in my life, just because I was so involved in games and WoW. And I mean, I had the girlfriend when I first started streaming. We'd only been together maybe 3 months before I started streaming. So, like, once I got into that long-term relationship with Lisa, and you can ask her, at first, I was still the same with Cobalt. Like, got to stream every day. Can't take off. Sorry, we're not going out of town. You can go if you want. I got to stream. And then slowly, as our relationship built up, and, like, I don't know, I just came to appreciate her, and I wanted to have a life not maybe outside of streaming, but beside streaming, like next to streaming, and just have that balance. And being able to go on a trip with her and then come back and then still have a ton of people in my community there and supporting me, and they didn't go anywhere. And I've had people that have sub counts for 70 plus months, and it's like that support's going to be there as long as I don't just disappear without warning. So I think it's the same thing as we were talking about before, where you had asked me, like, what was the transition from, streaming 12 hours a day, stream, sleep. It's just like the repetition of doing it, and then seeing if I take time off, it's going to be okay when I come back. Like, it's my community reaffirming, like, we got you. It's okay. Go live your life a little bit, and then Lisa kind of pushing me like, hey, you're almost 30. Like, it's maybe we should think about growing up a little bit, maybe getting our own place, maybe having a kid, getting married, like having all these things.
But it sounds like to you, it sounds like you inherently wanted that, even like, not that she's like pushing you to that, but like, it sounded like you wanted that. And then
I definitely wanted it. I just didn't think it was possible. Like, when my mindset when I first started streaming was, hey man, if I make $12,000 a year doing this, I can eat like ramen every day. I can live in an apartment like a hermit and never see the light of day and just stream, and I'll be happy in life doing that. And it's like,
and at the time that was at the time, was that true?
At the time, that was totally true.
Yeah.
Like, it was like a selfless sacrifice to do what I loved and put everything into streaming.
But you were willing to do that.
Feasible.
Yeah.
I was willing to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just not feasible in the long term. And so, like, I couldn't imagine living off $12,000 a year now, because I have bills and all these things and a child, and I'm very fortunate that I can pay all those things with my job. But I don't know, like, it's like my, how do I put it, like, my standards for what I wanted my life to be have changed. I want more for my life than I did. I just wanted to be a successful streamer. And now that I am a successful streamer, I want to have kind of more of those normal things, or just that balance of life, to where, hey, like, I can go watch, the newest TV show, for a couple hours a night with Lisa, and then come back and I'll have something to talk to my channel about. Like, hey, did you guys see Daredevil, or, whatever. And I think it's important. I just realized it's important to have that balance, because otherwise you're just sitting there talking about the same stuff every day. You're doing the same thing. You're talking about gameplay, and it just gets like stagnant. So you just have to keep bringing, more personality to your channel, and the more stuff you do outside your channel helps build your personality.
So you feel it sounds ironic, but you feel like since you have more of a life balance and you spend time off stream, it makes you a more entertaining broadcaster and a better show.
Not only does it broaden like your personality and your like different points to talk about on your stream, but it gives you that mental time to decompress and you're like in a happier mood.
Mm-hmm.
Like trolls don't get to you as much. Like your armor gets thicker if you take a couple of days off and you just shrug it off. But if I'm streaming like every day for a month and somebody comes in, you're fat, I'm just like, F you, like, let's go. Like, you're all banned, not just you. I'm banning everybody around your name too.
No,
so it, it's good. Decompressing's good.
Yeah, no. So it sounds like you're happy. So now bring us to modern day. So what's your schedule look like now? What's your show, your stream? What's it like now?
I'm doing 6 days a week. I take 1 day off. I took Tuesday off just because I felt like it.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes. Like. I actually feel a little guilty about it when I don't like schedule a day off, but it happens sometimes, and I live.
And everyone was still there on Wednesday.
Everyone's still there. It's fine. They may be a little salty, but
And then
6 days a week.
What times do you stream, and how long do you normally stream for?
5 to 11, 6 hours a day. Lately, I've been doing like more like 6 to 8 hours, like 8-hour streams because I just got back from TwitchCon, but I was taking Wednesdays off because they were like the worst day as far as like number wise. It's just the middle of the week and it's just kind of like a slow portion of the week. But I recently got into Magic, so I swapped my off day to Friday so I could do Friday Night Magic at my local game store.
When you do Friday Night Magic, have you ever bumped into anyone? They're like, hey.
Yeah, actually. I was doing a pre-release event for Guilds of Ravnica. And there was a guy sitting at a table playing with my friend, and I walked over to see how their game was going. He was like, "Hey, are you CobaltStreak?" It's like, "Yeah." Like, "Oh man, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm Wade C. Lawson, and I've been a sub to your channel for a long time." And I was like, "Oh my god, I do know you. This is crazy." I was like, "What's up, man?" And he's like, "Yeah, I changed my name to whatever," and da 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 da. I was like, what a small world. That's pretty nuts. And they call us the Twitchers up there because they know, like, it's like me, my buddy Sir Slaw, who's a partner, one of the only 4 partners in Memphis, and then Josh Tucker, who he works for Fox News here. Mm-hmm. He's like the social media guy. He used to be a reporter. And we go up there and we play, and they call us like the Twitchers. And I'm just like, why can't we just be normal, like nerdy people here to play Magic? Like, why do you gotta label us like that?
So now you have time. You do Friday Magic. You hang out with your family. What is like? So now, like, you have a schedule. But it sounds like your schedule. Yeah. You're not streaming 12 hours a day. It's every single
about
day.
6.
Okay.
6 to 8. It can get a little rough with my son and family. Normally I'll go to bed anywhere between 1 a.m. to 3 because I just need that a little bit of time after stream to decompress or maybe get a couple of things done, check in with my management group and stuff, make sure they don't need anything from me. And then I wake up anywhere from 9 a.m. to 11, depending on how Lisa's morning is going.
Yeah.
If Hunter's being, just really fussy or something, she'll come wake me up a little earlier. But if she's having a good day, I get to sleep in. And then generally I'll give her like a nap for a couple hours. I'll let her, sleep for 2 or 3 hours or go out and do something. And then usually at least by 4, she'll come and take him back. And then I get ready for stream. And then that's basically how every day goes except for Friday, except for if we travel or there's something else I need to do that's like doctor or, just like life stuff. So
that's cool. So let me ask this. So with things going on, what are you doing now in terms of like games you're playing? What's working? What have you tried stuff that hasn't worked that you may have learned something from? Like what does your audience expect to see now, and what have you changed up, or what's been going on over the past year or so?
I've definitely tried to branch out of Isaac a little bit, and I would say that's worked. Well, I just feel like there's no game that's going to have infinite, longevity. So it's really important to just broaden yourself. So instead of like just Isaac, like I didn't play Isaac probably for 3 or 4 months this year at one point because I had Gungeon. I had Enter the Gungeon that came out, and I was like, this is great. This is doing really well.
Did that affect your channel and numbers at all? That you was like, hey, no more Isaac for 3 months, 4 months?
It actually helped because it was something new and it was still kind of in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So it's still a roguelike. It's still like bullet hell. It's something fresh. I don't think it quite had the staying power of Isaac, but it's something I can go jump back on. Got me some new follows. It's important to be able to pivot to different things like that. So what I would say, the things that do well for my channel are probably like indie games in general. So like roguelikes, action, probably like action adventure a little bit, and then like platformers do fairly well. Like Hollow Knight did pretty well. Dungreed, Darkest Dungeon did really well for the channel. Cuphead did great for the channel. We were peaking at like 4,000 viewers for Cuphead. So Terraria, my first playthrough of Terraria that we did was like 4,000 people. And then I went back to it this year and did some modded stuff, and we were hitting 4,500, which is great considering I've already done like a playthrough of it and I'm just modding it now. So
you started sprinkling in some other games because you're like, hey, look, eventually, this is
we don't know what's gonna happen with it. Like I feel like it has died down in popularity a bit, but they keep updating it. So as long as they keep updating it, it's gonna renew interest in it. But every single time they have updated it, I feel like the renewed interest has been a little bit less amount of time. So like when the first version of the game came out, Rebirth, for like a year and a half, that was hype. And then, next version, 6 months, next version, 3 months, next version, just whittles down to like how long it can keep people's interest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to be expected, right? Like I said, no game has infinite staying power, and Isaac is amazing that I've been able to make, a 6-year career off mostly playing that. But like I said, I don't want to put all of my chips on black. I want to put some on 12 and 13 and, spread them around a little bit. So, it's been all right.
Let me ask you this. What's something you've tried on stream that didn't go well that you learned from?
Yeah, so AAA games, they're rough. I don't know what it is.
Like, give me an example of one you did. You're like, I think this could be good on the stream, and it was like,
God of War. I love God of War. I've played every God of War game ever, except for Ascension, and I was so excited for it. And I had a great time streaming it. I played it all the way through on like the hardest difficulty, second hardest difficulty, I think. I beat it, but man, I probably had 40% maybe of my normal viewership for it.
Were people saying stuff? Or like, why are you playing this? Or it was just a vibe?
No, it's just like with a lot of those games, people don't want them spoiled for themselves, or a lot of the time there's another streamer that's known for that type of game and they're playing it and they're pulling, 20,000, they're like huge numbers. And really, I just think a channel like mine will get overlooked in those regards. And, it could just be my fault. Maybe I'm not entertaining enough. I don't know. But I feel like even when some of those people try to play some of the indie games I play, like Darkest Dungeon, I was still doing extremely well.
Yeah.
Right? Even compared to them. So I think it's just like you kind of get... After you stream something for a certain amount of time, people kind of put you in that category of like, this is what I watch them for. I watch this guy for roguelikes, indie games, like finding games that maybe I wouldn't see sometimes, but now I really like it because I watched him play it. And a AAA game is not like that. Like, you're probably going to know whether you're into it or not the second it's announced, like, oh, God of War. Yeah, like, can't wait for that to come out. And I had a blast playing it, but it did not do well for my channel. Same thing with a lot of Blizzard games. Overwatch. I mean, to be fair, I'm not great at shooters, so I probably wouldn't want to watch me either. But those are fun playing them.
But those are two games that you genuinely enjoy, and it's like the feedback you got, or just internally, you're like, hey, it doesn't work on the stream. Does that dissuade you from not
Yeah.
doing it because it's 40% less, or will you continue to do that for like because you enjoy it and you think people in your community, the people that are there, will enjoy it?
You know, it depends. It depends because the problem now is I don't have a lot of time outside of streaming to play video games.
Mm-hmm.
So like the only video games I get to play are usually what you see me streaming. So for a game like God of War, I'm playing God of War. Like, I'm finishing it. I don't care what anybody says. That's a stream that I do for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to just like knock those out as quick as I can. Like just go at them for a couple of days really hard, knock it out, and then go back to what I think I know will probably do well for my channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe if I do that enough times, maybe it'll catch on, maybe not. Maybe I'll get like a host one day from somebody and that'll just push me into that category or whatever. And that's kind of how I feel like it's a little bit of luck involved as well. Cause like you could be in a position 4th or 5th on a game list. And then if you're playing it long enough and everybody logs off, they're going to trickle down into your channel. And then that's luck just because you were there in the right place, you know, at the right time. So that could happen, but a lot of the time, games that I don't think will do well, my determining factor is like, how bad do I want to play this? And for a game like God of War, like pretty freaking bad, you know, like I'm going to play it no matter what. If I have 10 people, if I have 10,000 people. So it was fun. I had a good time, but definitely not something I expect growth from or a large amount of my viewership to turn out for. Like, for example, when like Repentance comes out or Enter the Gungeon update comes out, pretty much banking that's going to help my channel, right? Like, that's probably going to do pretty well for me. Yeah. But Spider-Man, really want to play it. Probably not going to do well.
But it's cool that you can still balance that out. You can still do that. You know, you get a chance to play it. And then, you know, your audience understands, hey, Cobalt's going to be back with the normal stuff in a few days or a week later.
Yeah. I tell them, I'm like, we're on vacation right now, guys. Like, I know we're streaming, but this is my vacation. I'm playing this game for me. I know some of you aren't into it. I appreciate everybody that's just hanging out and sticking around, even if you don't like it. Like, it still helps me. But check back in a couple of days. You know, if this isn't your thing. But I feel like a lot of people, they just don't want the game spoiled. They want to play it on their own. It's a AAA game. It's very story driven, like very story driven games. I don't tend to do very well on because I feel like a lot of my community just wants to experience it for themselves.
Yeah.
So
let me ask this.
So, yeah.
It's kind of you've been playing the same game or an iteration of it for 6 years.
Yeah.
Have you ever got bored of it? Is there any days when you're like, man, like,
oh yeah.
how do you handle that? Because I asked that to Ryan the other day. I'm like, dude, you've been making videos for 6 years. Is there any point where like, you know, you wake up, you're like, I don't want to play it today, or is that not the case?
As bored as I get playing a video game, I still remember what it feels like to wait tables. And I could play Hello Kitty, My Pony Adventure, dude, and it's better than waiting tables. It's better than any other job I've ever had. And for me, it's not even so much about the game. I found out that a lot of the time, even if I don't feel like getting on stream, if I force myself to do it and I see the people start talking to my chat and I start interacting with everybody, that usually puts me in a good mood. It flips my attitude around. So it's like, it's less about what game I'm playing and more about, are the people happy watching me play it? Are they talking to me? Are they interacting with me? Because for a game like Isaac, I can like turn my brain off. It just goes on autopilot and I just read chat and I just talk to chat and I try to make funny jokes and I try to do like little quirky things and be weird. Like for example, I'm like, hey guys, you know, if I get $100 tip, I'll give you guys a squirt show, which sounds bad. But
yeah, this is a clean podcast.
This is a PG, but what that means is, and I don't expect to get $100. I just think it's like it's just like a funny thing.
Yeah.
But somebody did once, so I took my bottle of water and I was just like, like all over my face, and that's my squirt show. It's just water, dumping water on myself, you know. And it's just kind of like a funny, little quirky thing to do. Yeah. And everybody seems to enjoy it and think it's, you know, pretty crazy. So, I don't know. Like I said, it's less about the game and more about I take joy from making people happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like when people always tell me like, oh, go get a real job, blah, 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 blah. How long do you think this is going to last? Like, it doesn't matter to me, like, if you think my job's real or not. I've had people send me messages saying I've helped them when they were in the hospital. I've helped them with depression. They've had a bad day. I turned their bad day around. I made them smile. And the fact that I can bring joy or satisfaction into somebody's life, or even take them out of the realm of their unhappiness, even for a short while, that's as real of a job as I need. That makes me happy, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and so as we wrap things up here, you talk about like the future. So like you've seen everything grow. You've seen Twitch grow. You've seen channels grow. You've grown. What do you see, happening in the future with Twitch and everything you have going on?
Well, Twitch has definitely changed a lot. When I used to go to a convention, I used to know like 90% of the people there, employees, streamers, and like ever since Amazon kind of took over, it's just like blown up in scale.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing about that is like I don't really have to go into such detail like I did at first. Like, oh, I'm a streamer on Twitch. A lot of people are like, oh, I know what that means. Do you play Fortnite? Like, well, I don't play Fortnite, but I'm glad I don't have to give you some long-winded explanation about my job. So like as far as where everything's going, I mean, for my channel personally, I hope to just keep it sustainable. Have those games that when there's like a lull, I don't have something new to play that I can fall back on, like Isaac or Gungeon, where people are going to turn out, maybe not as big as once before, but enough where I can just hold my subs and sustain, and then wait for those new games. Like I'm looking forward to Legend of Bumbo right now. I'm looking forward to the new Isaac Repentance. Enter the Gungeon's coming out with the new DLC eventually. Kingdom Hearts 3. Don't know how that one's going to do for me, but that's one of those ones I'm just going to be like, I don't care, guys.
We're going on vacation.
We're going on vacation for like a week. I really don't like, the thing is like I don't know where Amazon is taking Twitch. I'm not sure. I hope that a lot of us that have been here for a long time don't get kind of like washed over or under the rug. I'd like to do more collaborations with people, more multiplayer stuff, maybe some Fallout 76. I just hope that wherever it goes, it's not, negative. Like I want to keep my job. So let's just hope it keeps going in that direction, and like net neutrality doesn't pop in and like everybody's got to pay $50 a month to watch Twitch, and then like, oh crap, now they can't afford to sub or something. Let's just hope it doesn't go that route. It just stays sustainable. People can still come on Twitch and have their dream, like I had my dream come true. I want people to still be able to start from nothing and get to a point to where they're happy,
Yeah.
And that's all I really want. I don't know what to expect other than that.
Yeah.
If you have maybe something specific.
No, that you hit it. So that's what, as we wrap things up here, where can people find you on social media, your show, so I can get all the links and everything down there for everyone?
Twitch.tv/CobaltStreak. I'm there almost every single day except for Fridays, where I will be playing Magic. YouTube, CobaltStreak. We're putting some videos up there, some new stuff. Not quite as many videos getting uploaded, but better quality.
Mm-hmm.
And then Twitter, CobaltStreak. Again, CobaltStreak, whatever.
And then
Cobalt.
I didn't ask you this, and I think we've talked about it before. CobaltStreak, the name came from where?
Man, I was just a little kid trying to figure out an AIM name, and I hate names with like numbers in them.
Yeah.
So those just annoy me for some reason. I'm just like, it's got to be a name without a number. What 2 words can I put together that sound cool, but nobody's going to ever think of? So I put Cobalt because I played a game called Lufia 2, which was a Super Nintendo RPG, and there were kobolds in the game, but they were spelled incorrectly. And I was like, I mean, it's an element on the periodic table. It's blue. It's kind of like a cobalt. We'll do that. And then streak. I don't know, dude. I was like, a blue streak. That's fine. Nobody will use that. It's just 2 words that I don't feel like anybody would just put together. And it's a handle that I wouldn't have to worry about having like some type of iteration of it in the future. And that's it. I was like 11 years old. There's nothing special about it. I probably should have had a different name when I started streaming. It probably would have worked out better for me, but That's what I started with. That's what I'm sticking with. So.
I find it pretty ironic that it evolved into you running Isaac streaks. Just, ironically enough. And then was that your name through like World of Warcraft and other things you played? Did you have a CobaltStreak character? Or was that just your login on like multiplayer type games?
No, I mean, I used to be Klondike because I played this game where this guy, his name was OO Klondike OO, and I just thought he was like a god. I was like, this guy's so good at this game.
What game?
So I started. It was called Shattered Galaxy. It was a game by Nexon. It was like kind of like a PvP game, capture the point, kind of RTS style. And he was so good at it with all of his like different builds and different combinations of units he had. And so I just started copying his name like on other games out of admiration. And then on WoW, I was Polaris and Spectral because I was like a mage and I wanted like a magey type of name. And then CobaltStreak as well. So several different handles, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, the one, the only CobaltStreak. Kobe, thanks so much for coming on, man. It's always got a lot from this. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy hearing your story in depth, and especially because last time we had a talk like this, it was like pre-family man CobaltStreak.
Yeah.
It's cool that what I take away from this is that it sounds like you're extremely, extremely happy, and that's awesome, man. I'm super fired up for you, and I'm glad we've become friends over this thing that started out as Twitch, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me and letting me ramble on for a little bit.
Dude, my pleasure. But yeah, check out CobaltStreak. I'll put all the links to his show, his Twitter, and YouTube in all the description boxes on iTunes and everywhere else. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.